Staring at herself in the mirror on the restroom door. Voices in her head that mirror what she's heard before.
Welcome to your Pick a Crystal to select your card and receive your message from the universe for this Virgo full moon. Pick the crystal that most stands out to you from the collection and check out the timestamp in the description below. Stay tuned. Hey beautiful people, it's your girl Shakima stopping in for another awesome Pick a Crystal to select your card guidance. This week's message is a message from the universe so that you can really get to grips with what's actually taking place for you universally with this Virgo full moon. Before we do get into it, definitely be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you sort of like my vibe and you resonate with the content, be sure to comment down below and let me know how you've been able to effectively utilize the information that I'm about to provide in this guidance, and definitely be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you can be kept in the know of when I do upload these awesome videos for you guys. So that being said and put out the way, now let's go ahead and sort of get into the overall sort of guidance that we're sort of, you know, dealing with around the energies of this Virgo full moon. So this right here, my loves, is the overall message, I guess, for the collective or the people that have been drawn to this reading. The overall guidance from you, from the universe to you, rather, is that the moment that you choose to realign with love, you do get a clearer sense of direction of your path. So let your connection to the things that, like, love has its own gravitational force field. If you're new to my channel, I generally tend to integrate a lot of scientific notions. It's just the way that my mind works to be able to process information. It's the way that I'm able to read. So that being said and out the way, it's really more or less a gravitational pull, and it can be utilized just as much as fear. Fear is actually, we speak about the law of attraction a lot of the times, which would be, you know, the, I guess, energetic force field or gravitational force field of love. When we're dealing with fear, that's a whole different presence. That's more the law of repelling. So you know how you continue to create the things that you don't want because you're focusing your energy on trying to get away from it. You're actually creating a push-pull effect, and it depends on which sort of chances out. Sometimes it goes in your direction or in your favor, other times not so much. So you have to be very careful when dealing with dynamics around just focusing on what you don't want to happen. So the universe is saying to you, just realign with what it is that you love about the situation, or what it is that part of you is really appreciating and enjoying about your wherever you are in your journey right now for this Virgo full moon. I can see that, you know, Virgo is really about structuring and reorganizing and really fine-tuning things, you know. So this is your moment. The universe is saying this is your moment to basically realign your focus, realign your thoughts, realign your direction by choosing to focus on the things that brings more love to you. So make your decisions, guys, from a place of love. And I know it sounds so corny, but really, like, the smallest of things, you'd be surprised to understand how much of a drastic difference it can make in your life. So yeah, put some love in your source, guys. Okay, now let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So this, for me, from my angle, is actually crystal number one, which is getting away from me. So I just tried to film this video, guys, and I hadn't actually gotten into the gist of everything, but I was speaking about this particular crystal, and it still has the same effect now. So this crystal is great for psychic connection. It's great for third eye engagement and interaction. I'm actually feeling the pulsation of my third eye opening in the my fontanel bone, actually. So it's definitely super, super effective, depending on how sensitive you are as well. This is basically letting you know if you've gravitated towards this particular crystal. I guess the universe is really asking you to focus on your third eye chakra activation, and really just allowing for your mind to be willing to expand. So you may be a little bit rigid, my love, in so many different ways in terms of how you are observing situations. And the universe is asking for you to open your mind, open your heart, and really just give yourself an opportunity to really, see what could potentially be at play. Now, let's go ahead and get these cards out the way so that we can go ahead and have a look and see what's actually unfolding for you. So with the tarot, the question that I actually asked for the tarot was, let's just get this all into order to make sure that you guys can see everything. Right, so the question that I asked with the tarot in terms of the structure is, where are you? So for the people that have chosen crystal number 1, this is where you are for this Virgo full moon. This is your position as you navigate through the Virgo full moon. So it seems as though you're actually at a place where you've been very contemplative. You've been very contemplative while people have been silent, whilst situations have been unsuccessful. You've contemplated even how to relay your roots, is what I'm seeing and hearing. As you're navigating through, I guess, the energies of the Virgo full moon, your strengths are definitely going to be called into mercy, is what I'm hearing. Your strengths are going to be called into mercy. So think about what some of your strengths are. For some of you guys, as I mentioned, because this crystal is really all about, that third eye connection to the ethereal realms of consciousness, you can really bet that the actual challenges that you might find throughout this Virgo full moon is that your strengths may be showing up as weaknesses. So there may be situations or things that you haven't necessarily done for a while, or maybe this is your first time doing it, and you're actually going to be realizing that you're naturally gifted at some new skills and talents that you're developing, or old skills and talents that you are reintroducing yourself to in order to avoid any sort of conflict or any friction. I can see that your strength in this Virgo full moon is your ability to be able to avoid disasters and tower moments. So there aren't going to be any significant quick changes as such, but it does seem to be a bit more of a slow burner. So your patience is something that may be tested during the Virgo full moon. You may sort of have to tame your inner urges to be a little bit on edge or defensive or codependent in your relationships as you're engaging with other people. So those are some of the things that may be sort of tested throughout the month, of this Virgo full moon transit. Another thing that I do want to say as well is that it seems as though for some of you guys as well, some of the disasters that you're actually avoiding is because you're holding off on certain things. So the situation that you're living in, it may be a false prison, is what I'm hearing. So it may be a false prison. You may be giving yourself this story, and that's again something that you'll probably awaken to during the course of this Virgo full moon. But what I can see is that you are going through a mind transcendence, is what I'm hearing. That's the position that you're in for this Virgo full moon. Mind transcendence is the theme for you. Avoiding disasters at all costs. Okay, so that is your positions, my love. Let's have a look and see what path you are crossing overall. Okay, so the path that you are crossing, we've got the Stormy Warning and Caring Connections cards, both in reverse. So your caring connections, the path that you're crossing is that, your connections with your loved ones aren't necessarily sort of going through stormy times during this Virgo full moon, or maybe you've just you know, you just kind of like flipped the nail on its head, where you're no longer going through stormy times, but you've experienced quite a bit of significant stormy times with your loved ones. For some of you guys, I'm seeing that there has been a lot of emotional conflict for some of you guys. A lot of emotional conflicts with the people that you really love very, very deeply. You may not necessarily be there now where you're still dealing with the stormy weather, but it seems as though there may have been some situations that has impacted your connections to your loved ones, and that's the path that you're crossing. You're crossing the path of seeing how those stormy weathers actually affected your relationship with your loved one, and what are some of the things that's actually sort of come up. For some of you guys, I'm seeing that this is particularly to do with your romantic partnerships and relationships. That may not be the case for everyone. For some of you guys who are single, you may sort of had a bit of a stormy sort of ride with your single situation at the minute, considering everything that's kind of going on in the world. It's really kind of hard to date, and that may have been something that has caused you some dark times over the course of the last, I want to say 3 to 6 months since the Virgo new moon. But what I can see as far as the overall path that you're crossing is that it's no longer stormy weathers or stormy warning for your relationship with your loved ones. It's actually now finally an opportunity for you guys to really be able to connect on a different level, on a different layer of your relationship. And also, more importantly, as you know, the cards said in terms of your position, avoiding disaster at all costs. Okay, now let's have a little look and see what the guidance is on how to work your light for this Virgo full moon. So the guidance for you guys, my love, is to get grounded. Okay, allow for yourself to get attuned and connected to nature. I mentioned about this particular crystal being able to allow for, you know, connections to different realms of consciousness and awareness, and these are some of the ways that you can actually naturally connect to nature, because crystals are earth energy. It's the elements of the earth. You can get out in nature, go for a walk, go for a jog, maybe even just sit out under a tree. The sun's finally starting to come out. During the Virgo full moon, we'll actually be transcending over into spring season as well, so you'll get more opportunities to be able to connect with nature. So bring your connection to Mother Gaia to surface, and that is how you'll be able to intuitively navigate through what's actually unfolding in collective consciousness. You're an empath, you know, you're somebody that is deeply connected to all realms of consciousness. You're connected to life, and you breathe life through the arteries of your spiritual heart. And by that, I mean the veins that is unseen, connected to realms of nature that our minds can't even fathom. And those are the parts of yourself that you really want to take some time to connect to during the Virgo full moon, to get some, I guess, clarity, and also get a greater sense of perspective. It will really allow for you to, again, just work at being centered and aligned in the core of your being as you're kind of navigating through avoiding these disasters. Okay, so if you see something come up that may be taking you out of yourself, take a minute, breathe, connect to the earth, and decide how you're going to, you know, navigate through the situation. Be objective in your perspective. That's what it means to be an empath sometimes. So play on the strengths of being a compassionate sort of individual. Okay, that's how you're going to work your light as you navigate through the Virgo full moon. Your message from the universe, dun, dun, dun. Your message from the universe for this Virgo full moon. So noticeably both cards are in reverse. I know it's weird to kind of read these cards in reverse, but I actually really like to shuffle my deck so the cards kind of like fall as they may, or how they are intended to be read. So these actually fell in reverse, which lets me know that potentially these are things that needs to be worked on. So you may be losing faith, and it may be disrupting your peace That's one of the messages that the universe is saying. The universe is saying, I know it looks like I'm not for you. I know it looks or appears to you by your eyes, based on the current situation, like I'm not doing my best with you in mind. But if you have faith, your peace can actually become real. And what you can gain from that, your peace becoming real, is your reality. Your peace becoming your reality, your inner peace, your inner trust of the process, your inner trust of the guidance that you're receiving from yourself, your guides, your spiritual community, your inner belief that the universe genuinely does support your decision to be a better version of yourself in whatever way that may show up, is really the thing that's going to be able to shift your reality. Okay. And another thing that isn't necessarily taking place as well, you're not being as grateful. So these are two things that the universe is saying you need to work on. You need to work on your faith. So learning how to trust and believe in the process. And you need to work on your gratitude. Okay. You're not as, how can I put it? You're not as expressive in terms of the things that you're grateful for. So you may have a tendency to look more on perhaps things that aren't necessarily going your way, or appears not to be going your way or in your favor at the minute. But the universe is saying that if you can sort of thank the universe for how it's actually helping you to catapult yourself and see beyond the limitations of your fear, you'll actually be able to expand your perceptions on the reality that you're experiencing. And you'll be able to see that what's occurring right now is actually for your highest good. And that's what it means to live in the vibration of gratitude. Knowing that even when things may appear to be at a bad condition, low state, or a pleasant tide, that you can still find things to be grateful for, making the best of bad situations, basically. Those are some of the qualities that you're really going to need to play up on. And those are some of the things that you may need to revisit to tap into some of these strengths that you're going to be revisiting. And some of these you may find may actually be your strength once you start to give gratitude more of an expression through you as a vessel. You might actually find that this is a natural power up to keep charging you moving forward into the direction of the things that you're working on becoming your reality. Okay, so let's close it out and have a look at the outcome for you guys for this Virgo full moon. Awesome stuff. Let's see if you guys can get all of that into focus. Right, guys, so what we do have here today, as far as the outcome of the Virgo full moon for you guys, it seems as though you're focusing more on building, or have been focusing on building more of an empire. It does mean that there's an imbalance in your work and personal life. So you may be overzealous with work. So you probably aren't necessarily spending as much time with loved ones. So that may be something to consider as well, because the time that you take to recuperate is actually a great time for you to be able to, have some downtime, preserve your energy so that you can even give more energy moving forward as well. But it seems as though that's the way that you used to do things. Right now, as far as where you are, you're having doubts that that's the way for you to do things, or you're maybe even having doubts about this kind of foundation that you're trying to lay. You're doubting yourself. You're doubting whether or not you feel like you're good enough. You're doubting whether or not you feel like you're going to be able to get all your thoughts into perspective. You seem to be a little bit all over the place. You're focused on the short-term vision, and that's why you're actually doubting what you're capable of. So a lot of the times when we have, these desires and goals, we have to take it in stages. And because of where you are right now, and you don't necessarily know how you're going to get to where you're trying to get to, this solid foundation, this emperor vibe and energy, it seems as though you're actually doubting whether or not it's even possible. And again, the universe actually already called you out on that. So that's very, very interesting. But that's the challenge that you're navigating through for this Virgo full moon. And you'll actually find that it's going to help you build your strengths. It's going to help you build in your belief in self. Okay. And it seems as though moving forward, from the Virgo full moon, you're carrying a lot of baggage from this Virgo full moon over into, I guess, the next full moon season of Libra, because it does show, we've got the strength card in this particular deck as, you know, the outcome. The strength card is in reverse. So it seems as though, however you may have started Virgo full moon, you may not be ending on that note. So you may be going through feelings of the challenges feeling overwhelming, or the amount of work that you need to do feeling overwhelming, or the amount of people that you need to be able to rally. You know, sometimes you're trying to manifest a certain thing, right? And there's all these people that are parts of the like moving pieces of the puzzle, and it gets very, very overwhelming trying to kind of like facilitate the space to have everybody come together for this, you know, experience that you're trying to manifest. So it does seem as though the overall theme of the outcome for you is that there is going to be very, very strong doubts. You're going to be questioning your judgment. Sometimes your judgment may even be off due to the doubt. So you may be making decisions from a place of fear as well, which again, when you get to that place, recite this affirmation: the moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. That is our overall message from the universe as a collective. So yeah, you are going to come out of this definitely feeling the pressure of this grand empire that you're building and all that it requires and how much dedication and devotion it's going to require from you. You may be doubting yourself, but I see that if you apply yourself, this is only the challenge. And the challenge is only yielding that outcome simply because that's how the perspective is. Bearing in mind that you don't have a good work and personal life balance, I think that would actually help you to feel a little bit better about the things that may kind of like leave you feeling doubtful. So taking some more time for family time, or taking some more time for me time even, is something that you might find to be very beneficial as you're navigating through this Virgo full moon energy. Okay, guys, so that is crystal number 1. Hopefully that resonated with you guys. These are general pick a card readings, so it's not going to resonate with everyone. If it doesn't resonate, do just let it dissipate. But if it does resonate, be sure to comment down below and let me know how you've been able to effectively utilize the info. So we're going to go ahead with crystal number 2. So this crystal is really great for grounding. If you kind of have a look at it, it's rich in earthy colors. It's definitely great for root chakra activation. So this person may be feeling a little bit unstable in their environment. There may be insecurities that you are navigating through, and the universe is asking for you to really just take an opportunity to, you know, connect to your roots. That's the crystal healing that you require for this Virgo full moon. So what do I mean by that, Spirit? What I'm seeing is that some of you guys may have, you've pushed yourself away from certain, I don't want to say parts of yourself and sound all cliche and stuff, but you've basically pushed yourself away from certain parts of yourself for a significant period of time. Certain creative expressions, so cultural expressions you haven't necessarily done for a period of time, or you know, quote unquote doing the work stuff you haven't necessarily done for a while. You've basically been living your best 3D life. And you are being asked to get grounded, get a little bit more in the world and less of the world, as you're navigating through this Virgo full moon, is what this crystal is asking of you, from what I'm hearing there. Very great for grounding, actually. The crystal was very clear and precise to me about the story that it was trying to tell, as I'm sort of like channeling the information through. So it's definitely you know, being able to refocus yourself to the things that you love is actually going to be beneficial for realigning your thoughts, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it for you guys. We'll start off again in terms of your position for this Virgo full moon, my loves. Let's have a look. So your position is quite interesting. It's quite interesting because what it is showing me, let me just get these cards in focus for you. There we go. So what it is showing me is that there may have been some past projects that they've been delayed, and it may be to do with your home situation. So for some of you guys, it seems as though you may have been going through this transition in your home situation that was significantly delayed coming into this Virgo full moon. There was a security or a sense of security that was promised to you by the universe, and it seems as though you're still holding out, waiting for that to be received. It stands to be very beneficial to your home situation. Is the main thing that I'm seeing. It stands to bring some significant feeling or sense of stability for you. What I'm seeing in terms of the challenge that you're navigating through is that you're really having to be introspective about your anxiety, about the things that is making you depressed. And I've already said this. You may be too attached to the worldly aspects of your reality. So this Nine of Swords, these swords could, each of these swords could represent a different worldly aspect of things that you are deeply considering, which is maybe why you're feeling like a failure, because you're still waiting for the universe to deliver on this promise that you know the universe is good for this promise, but it's just taking some time to be able to reach you and manifest. You're really having to go deep within yourself to do some soul searching on some of these different things. So this may be a phone bill, this may be an electric bill, this may be a car note, this may be a car insurance. You know, like these are all the different things that you're really going deep within yourself about. You're soul searching about how to be able to make better on your situation. You know, what's kind of taking place at the minute is that there's a lack of success. And there's a fall from grace during the process as well. So as you're having to deal with all of these, how can I put it, like 2020, the situation that we're sort of like still navigating through now in 2021 based on, you know, what transpired, the pandemic, that was a universal flop or failure, if you will. It's kind of like God's way of giving us a timeout. God's like, no, you don't get away with handing this in for homework today. You can do better. I believe in you. Go back to the drawing board. You know, we're actually trying to, from what I can see, you're in a position where you're trying to figure out how to be able to move away from this situation. You're trying to figure out how to get past all of these debts that you're carrying, all of these thoughts that you just can't seem to get away from. You go to bed, they're there. You wake up, they're there. You're doing something, it's in the back of your mind. It's like this gnawing thought. You have to be careful of your self-talk is what I'm hearing with this particular energy, because what I'm seeing is that your talk and focus seems to be focusing on the things that basically are making you feel like a failure or a loser. Because you're transitioning. Like, if you are never a loser, you can never be a winner. Can I just say that? I'm just going to repeat that again. If you are never able to experience being a loser, you will never really know what it feels like to be a winner. So you've had your moments of losses. Figure out what you've learned from those experiences, because that's the position that you're in right now. You're really trying to go deep into it so that you can understand how not to do those things and make better on this promise that the universe has basically supplied you with. You know the universe is going to come through for you, but you also realize now that you've got to come through for you, because you've got all of these responsibilities, all of these bills, these worldly I guess pleasures and measures that you have to sort of maintain and keep up with. So definitely be sure to, you know, be gentle with yourself in terms of your mind talk in your mind palace. Okay, because the position that you're in is that it's definitely going to be a very isolating time of deep introspection. Okay, so let's have a look and see the overall energy for you. Right, guys, so the energy for you guys in terms of what you are, I guess, crossing, the path that you're crossing, the energy is root chakra vibe. So the root chakra is now in a position where it's strong, it's solid, it's stable. You've got this great sense of identity. You're at a place where you can really see maybe a path, or this is an opportunity for you to be able to see a path on how you can create your abundance, because that's the thing, right? Cornucopia, this card right here, it speaks about great fruits coming into into season, basically, but it's in reverse. And the reality for you is that you haven't necessarily had the easiest of times when it comes to the root chakra work. So it lets me know that you've had to do a lot of deep-rooted healing on your mummy and daddy issue wounds, your family dynamic, immediate and extended family dynamic situations. You've really had to think about, how they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You've really had to think about how you're actually seeding your the plants that you are putting out there into the universe. You're not doing things necessarily like it's been done before. For some of you guys, I'm seeing that it's almost like the unsuccesses. I'm trying to find my words here, guys, because they're very sketchy with the way that they're explaining it. So the lack of success, basically, for past generations actually has strengthened your root chakra in this present situation that you're navigating through at the minute. You've already gone through the doors of new beginnings, and there is a fresh chapter that is taking place for you, because your root chakra is finally at a place where it's balanced. But what that does mean for you is that you will have to be careful about how you're tending to the seeds of your plant. Like I said, it's very, very important. That's the path that you're crossing at the minute. Root chakra being charged and figuring out how to be able to plant your seeds moving forward. Okay. Let's have a look and see how you can best work your light throughout the process. So we are guided for you to work on setting boundaries, establishing better boundaries, now that you've got this, controlled sense of direction and where you may want to take the situation. It's important. Right, sorry about that, guys. Believe it or not, my battery actually died. So we were at, details on how to work your light throughout this Virgo full moon. So one of the things that actually came to me during my downtime is that setting these boundaries, you need to establish better boundaries with yourself as well. You really need to engage with yourself throughout the course of this Virgo full moon, and really understand what the different parts of yourself will and will not engage with during the course of this Virgo full moon season. What I can see is that we saw that the root chakra was definitely imbalanced, but what I guess came to realization with during my downtime was that it was more a case of getting away from the rotten fruit type thing, to be able to strengthen your root chakra, and you want to be able to maintain that kind of focus. Bear with me here, guys. We're going through a lot to kind of get this video done, which has got me questioning a lot of stuff. So this is about like establishing boundaries. So I guess this is something that is definitely going to be beneficial. Maybe crystal number 2 speaking to me directly. Bear with me, guys. Right, guys. Where are we? Boundaries. It's really about establishing and defining the appropriate boundaries with yourself as well. Where and how are you going to place your energy? Mainly the thing that sort of came up for yourselves was the fact that you really have to kind of establish better alignment in your personal commitments, as well as your work engagement. So you may need to establish better boundaries in sort of like your downtime, when you're going to have time for yourself, when are you also going to have time to socialize? Because I know socializing is really quite tricky at the minute, but where can you really actually realign your focus as well, and make sure that you are keeping true to your sense of self. Okay, so let's have a look and see what is your overall message from the universe. And again, I mentioned that I read these cards in reverse as well, because I feel like the cards will kind of like speak in its own language. It will let us know what work is good and structured and what work still needs to be done. There we go, guys. Bless me, bless me. Okay, so we have so much sort of taking place here. So I want you to be able to get a full grasp of what's occurring. I'm just going to read everything in terms of your particular message from the universe. And the universe has an entire story to tell you about your connection to this Virgo full moon. So what I'm seeing is that your third eye, for some reason, in past situations, you've really had to dig deep to gain a greater sense of meaning of your human experience. Love had tainted a lot of your understanding of yourself because of your past experiences. There are some issues maybe, or has been some issues in the past that you've really had to forgive, in terms of, I want to say, the feminine aspect of yourself, the maternal. It's all very interesting, actually. Wow. It seems as though in the past you've actually been able to develop a sense of comfort knowing that any sort of interaction that you have, with the people that may harm you or upset your spirit or distract your peace, they are for a greater sense of personal growth and purpose, or at least that's what you came to realize after going deeper within yourself. I don't know if you're entirely at a place of forgiveness just yet, but it seems as though you started the journey of forgiving some of those things. Yeah, you've been on quite the course since the Virgo new moon, guys. So what I'm seeing in terms of, any challenges that you may be going through at the minute, the universe to you is actually saying that you're not dreaming enough. You're not necessarily allowing for yourself, your third eye, to really live big enough. So you might need to get grounded so that you can actually maybe gain some foresight on your sense of direction, so that you can actually really trust that you know what's best for yourself, and you can be unapologetic about how you choose to grow, and the things you choose to focus on. But first you have to decide what those things are. You have to decide what the dream is. That's the kind of challenge for you at the minute. This is what the universe is saying. Wow. So interestingly, guys, the universe is fully having dialogue with you guys here. Can I just say, the universe is actually saying that, you guys have been on this great journey, you and the universe together. The universe has created some discomfort for you in the past. There's been environments and situations with people. I'm just getting feminine. I'm getting feminine energy. So your divine feminine may be sort of like going through a process of rejuvenation for this Virgo full moon. So that will be your creative energy, and I guess that goes into it, your ability to dare to dream big. That goes into your divine feminine expression for yourself. So even for divine masculine, so for the masculines out there, your feminine creative, I guess, inherent skills and talents are actually calling for your attention. And the universe is saying that you have to step out on a limb here and be unapologetic about what it is that you desire. If you want it, dream big, take the necessary course of actions to be able to allow for things to start to connect. And what you will find as you move forward is that when you're connected to the joyful presence of the dream, that you're actually attracting it to you, and the universe is supporting that for you. The universe is providing the conditions that will allow for you to be able to really attune yourself to your capacity to love, and it really will help you to, I'm really trying to sort of like put these words into perspective, because the cards themselves have words, and I'm trying to understand what it is that the universe is trying to say to you. So bear with me, guys. What I'm seeing is that the universe is saying to you, in fact, when it's ready to speak up, it will call upon you for the compassion that it needs when it's time for others to be forgiven. And you will have the power that you need when you feel that you're lost most. And that is what the universe really wants to express to you during this Virgo full moon. It is time for you to speak up and speak from a place of forgiveness, speak from a place of compassion as you choose to forgive, I guess, those who have pretty much, I guess, put you in a position where you felt like you needed to be apologetic for what it is that you dare to dream of. What I can see, I guess, long term in terms of how this Virgo full moon, so this may be the ongoing advice, and I guess it says so itself, right, because it's speaking about the general sort of like day-to-day moments, but the message for the, I guess, day-to-day of the Virgo full moon for you guys is to remember that in every moment the universe is conspiring to bring you towards right-minded thinking and the energy of love. Okay, so everything is happening for love, for the sake of love. Dreaming is love. Loving the dream is to achieve the dream. And you will be able to come into connection of that if you are willing to be unapologetic for the disruptions that may occur along the way. And that's what's sort of taking place at the minute, because we kind of established that you're going through self-doubt. So that's what the issue is here, where you're not necessarily allowing for your dreams to really show their capacity for life, basically. You know, sometimes you have a dream and you think that it's got a small battery life, but when it actually starts to unfold, it's got major battery life, and you did not even know that that was a possibility. So we give thanks. We give thanks for grace. Okay, that is your message from the universe. Remember to stay focused on that right-minded thinking, getting you closer to love, because the outcome for you in this Virgo full moon energy is that you'll actually get a greater sense of achievement. You'll get a greater sense of teamwork. You'll be able to really come together in your community. You'll be able to really come together in, establishing the roles that best define how to be effective in utilizing your skills and talents within the community. And that also goes for the people around you as well. You might find that they're actually sort of saying, hey, like, can you do this? Or you may need to do this better. So you may need to be open to constructive criticism, I guess, throughout the process, and know that it's coming from a place of love that is ultimately trying to bring you guys to a closer mindset within the community, a oneness mindset within the community to achieve this teamwork experience. Okay, guys, so that is all of the guidance for those in my crystal number 2 pile. And that was quite the trip, guys. So let's have a look and see for crystal number 3, guys. What do we have for crystal number 3? So this particular crystal, in all honesty, I'm not too sure of the name, but I'm getting a vibe. I'm definitely getting a vibe. I don't know that it is a blue lace agate. I think that that's what's sort of like coming up in the back of my subconscious mind, but it's great for throat chakra, actually. So this Virgo full moon, my loves, may see you guys utilizing your throat chakra quite a significant bit, or this may be the chakra that you are finding yourself healing, and in that case you may still be utilizing it quite a significant bit. So that being said, it's really more of a case of you observing how you are choosing to communicate, my loves, during this Virgo full moon. So Virgo is actually helping you to structure your linguistics a little bit better. Virgo is helping you to structure, so we don't just speak with our words, we speak with our minds, we speak with our body language, we speak with our facial expressions, we speak with a whole host of entities and I guess spiritual engagements and connections in realms that the mind can't even fathom. And you're actually going to be going through a process of cleansing and purifying some of the ways that you're communicating on some of these levels as well. So this may bring spiritual teachers towards you. You may find yourself in situations where you're having to teach others. And you may even find yourself during the course of this Virgo full moon being put on some sort of soapbox. I'm sure you guys can sort of figure what just took place there. I was actually sort of like, as I was observing it, as I was there in the image in my mind's eye, I could see myself literally sort of like at a speech booth. So it seems as though some great teachers and speakers are going to be born during this Virgo full moon. And that is amazing news. Great stuff. Let's get into it, my loves. So, as we know by now, we've got the tarot, and we'll be looking to see what position you are in for this Virgo full moon. Okay? So, it would seem that the position that you are in, you're actually chilled, man. Okay, so you've been emotionally cool, calm, and collected. You're like, what? I am so unbothered. Unbothered. That's just the vibe that you've been giving. Things that may be, how can I put it? Things, unfulfilled wishes, things that may not have gone your way in the past, you're actually at a place now where you're unbothered by them. Or at least that's where you got to with the situation. For some of you guys, maybe that's where you started off. You may not be there right now all the time throughout the Virgo full moon, because I'm seeing that even though you're unbothered, the mirror effect of that, there's something else going on beneath the surface. So there may be work to do there. You may be giving one version of yourself, and it's kind of like the coin flip effect that may have been taking place in the past, and for some of you guys that may be something that is occurring in the present moment, because you do have the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, which means that there's some broken family dynamics. So that may be the things that hasn't necessarily gone your way. Certain situations to do with finances. Obviously, we're dealing with a pandemic. Some people may have gone through separation and divorces throughout the period of, I guess, leading up to the Virgo full moon, because that's a challenge that you guys are navigating through at the minute. But coming into the Virgo full moon, you actually kind of like got to a place where you're learning to be okay with it, at least. It seems as though the challenge right now for you guys, interestingly enough, is that I think it's more of a grieving process that needs to take place. You're so busy being unbothered that you're not necessarily taking the time as well to be able to see actually how can I put it? How the things that hasn't necessarily gone your way, how it's affected the people around you. And it's not necessarily just about you being okay, but also it's actually realizing that they're not okay. That's the main thing that's going to come up, I guess, in one of the challenges that you're working through, because there's a lack of closure that's taking place within these dynamics as well. There may be children involved, there may be pets involved. So I spoke about separation, divorces, there may be a move of a home situation, that has basically been delayed due to financial losses or financial disarray, financial failures are some of the things that you're navigating through at the minute. You're basically trying to figure out how to get your coins up, but you haven't necessarily completed the recipe just yet. So you haven't completely figured out your source, is what I'm hearing. But yeah, for the most part, it seems as though you're pretty chilled about it. I would check that chilled vibe because I'm still getting some sort of like vibe that it's a front. Sometimes it's genuine. I'm not saying that that's the case all the time, but I'm saying if there's something that's there, if you're not necessarily feeling entirely like Queen of Cups in her right mind, in her right emotions, in her right creative expression of her self energy, you don't necessarily need to suppress it or internalize it, because it's clear that there are certain factors that aren't necessarily sort of going your way, especially when it comes to just the financial setbacks that you're kind of navigating through at the minute, because you haven't completed the wheel of life. You know, you haven't completed the wheel of the year just yet. So this I guess cycle, this how can I put it, this circular change or turn of events for the wheel to turn in your favor hasn't necessarily occurred just yet in terms of this financial situation. So it's understandable that you may sort of have some unresolved emotions about, you know, what's to come. And it's also okay to have it when you've got it, you know? It's also okay to have it when you've got it, but focus your energy on, maybe even though you're chilled, being able to provide some of that calming, sensitive, feminine, supportive energy to the people that are also affected by the circumstances that you're navigating through with these financial losses. Okay? So that's the position that you are in, and you are going to be utilized greatly by the sounds of it. Let's have a look. So your path that you're crossing the yin and yang. So you're crossing the energy of the internal, you know, work that needs to be done. You're kind of at that place. You know, with these financial losses, you're still trying to figure out like that right avenue or that right direction to take, and how it's going to be able to benefit yourself and the people around you and the family dynamics, and how things are going to change, and how, you know, the people around you are going to be able to be blessed by what you hope is to come. But you still have to be able to, for that yin to become a yang, so for that internal energy, for all those ideas and thoughts and creative prophecies to come into manifestation into the yang, the external world, the 3D, you have to be able to master your ability to navigate through the path of your curves of life, your turning points in life. We already established that with the wheel of the year being introverted, being in reverse energy, this is really just, again, furthering that notion that there's still a lot of creative ideas that needs to be, they need to be put into perspective. They need to be put into some sort of, they need to be captured, is what I'm hearing. They need to be captured. They're like pieces to the puzzle. And you have to be able to bring the parts of it together. And you're bringing the internal in at the minute. And the tides will turn soon enough, is what I'm hearing. The tides will turn soon enough. Once you've got a little bit more internal clarity on what it is that you're actually sort of going to need to do to be able to manifest this financial abundance and prosperity, right? So for you, the guidance on how to work your light throughout this Virgo full moon is actually to fill up your own well, guys. The universe is saying you need to take time to relax. You need to take time to rest and refuel and really you know, give back into your creative ideas. And taking some time to yourself, sometimes even resting your body gives your mind an opportunity to wander into greater realms of consciousness as well. It's definitely asking you to kind of retreat as well when you need to, you know. Sort of, it was funny because at the bottom of the deck, when this particular we've got a message, guys, I just got a download. It's funny as well, literally that came in as soon as the download sort of like hit, my eyes wandered over to the deck. All right, guys, so here we are, hopefully the final take to close out the space. But where I was for you guys is that the overall guidance on how to work your light throughout this Virgo full moon is to know when to retreat. Sometimes we're so busy trying to keep the momentum going, out of fear that, you know, the water might stop, the rippling effect. But sometimes the best thing for us to do is to know when to take a step back so that we can regroup and redirect. And that's going to be the thing that helps you to recharge during this Virgo full moon transit. So be sure not to pour from an empty cup, and really try ensuring that whatever it is that you're doing in your life and the stuff that you're creating and manifesting in your environment, make sure that, you know, you're nurturing your seeds from a place of I guess wholeness, you know, knowing just how much is too much and knowing when to quit whilst you're ahead, and also knowing when you've got enough energy to kind of like push forward. You're going to have to be very resilient with this filling up your well suggestion, because sometimes you are going to want to do more than, I guess, what is required of you. And sometimes you're going to be asked to do more than you think is necessary. So it's going to be very important for you to kind of take the necessary time to be able to just kind of retreat from certain situations that may be asking too much of you, or even certain ideologies and ideas that you may have that may be a little bit overwhelming and daunting for you. Obviously, we're looking at trying to manifest a, you know, a possibility out of this financial crisis that you're going through. And in order for you to be able to do that, you need to be around for it. So take the necessary time to rest and recuperate is your light guidance for this Virgo full moon. Right, guys, so let's have a look and see what your message from the universe is for you guys. So your message is to really tune in on the fact that you are the loving energy of the universe. You know, you have to give love to receive love, and you have to be present in the space of love and self-love. When you're practicing self-love, you take the time to be able to give yourself the necessary recuperations and recharges. So the way that you're going to be able to do that is to really express your, I guess, reflection of love, the reflection of the universe that represents you as love. However you share love, how you communicate your love, how you experience your love, how you express your love. Really just live in that place of knowing that you are the energy of love that permeates through the entire universe, a force so great that it actually has the capacity to create. So your message overall is to really reflect the universe's love in abundance. Okay, the outcome for you, should you do so, okay, should you accept the challenge, the outcome for you is to really start to see beyond just the short-term scope of things. You're actually starting to be more open to the possibilities of, you know, I guess things that are still developing. It's kind of like the upside down world at the minute is how I'm seeing it. Obviously the cards are introverted and reversed in energy, but I'm seeing it like the upside down world. You're actually kind of like creating it in the mind, and it is coming down in the 3D. So it is kind of like the upside down world, and then when it gets into 3D, it's kind of like the right side up world. I don't know how to explain it, but it seems like you're actually starting to be a little bit more open internally. Is the outcome of this Virgo full moon. Open to being willing to accept that you don't know everything, and what you don't know is actually going to be very beneficial for you in the long term in terms of how you're actually navigating through the circumstances that you're going through right now. But it seems like, I guess, the main thing as far as the next 28 days or so for you is really that after this next cycle, you'll actually be moving beyond your own imprisonment, your own mental imprisonment, your own shackles, the possibilities, the ways that you were telling yourself, oh, I could only achieve success this way. You're actually starting to realize that there are other possibilities, there are other ways to be able to manifest. So for some of you guys who've recently lost jobs or are developing ideas, you might actually start to get a little bit more open to your downloads. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to put everything into perspective just yet, because I can see that the divine feminine, the feminine energy within yourself, the energy of creativity is very scattered, and it's kind of trying to find its symmetry to be able to really have a grounding effect. So it's not necessarily at a place where it's going to ground whatever it is that you're working on in terms of your financial prosperity. It's not going to ground for this Virgo full moon, but it does mean that you're more open to the possibilities of what's sort of coming. And you can see that the universe is really reflecting back at you from a place of love. And it seems as though you're starting to be able to be receptive of that as the outcome of this Virgo full moon. So guys, that is pretty much everything. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me. Thank you guys for sticking through it. Much appreciated. Apologies for all of the, I guess, disruptions. I'm a little bit rusty, so is my equipment. And I guess we're still trying to figure it out in alignment with the Virgo full moon and taking notes of our insights. But thank you guys for joining me, and I'm going to love you guys and leave it there for you guys. I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, namaste.
Things they said to hold her back, they never seem to leave her head and tend to keep her mind at war.